there, I'm Jamie Johnson, also known as Jamie New, and I'm the founder of Smartest You. And in this video, you're going to learn 13 things to keep track of for each of your live shows. You may be thinking these are going to be super obvious, but some of them are not, and honestly, most people don't even bother to keep track of these things. When you're done watching, comment and let us know what you think, and make sure, as always, you check out the description of the video for any links that I mention, and also to download a free mini toolkit of our best 10 templates and guides on artist management. All right, so the purpose of keeping track of these things is to help you make better decisions for future shows, as well as better negotiate with the buyers for future shows, which is super important. But not only that, it can also help you secure a booking agent, a manager, or really any other industry person. Because the more data you have on your act, and the more stuff that you can prove that you've done in the past, the better. But at the basic level, when you go back to book a show at a venue or city you've already been to, it's so much easier once you've already kept track of these things that I'm about to talk about and can easily reference them without having to draw on your memory. Which is why what I'm about to teach you is actually called a reference sheet. So how do you make a reference sheet? Well, what you're going to want to do is get out a piece of paper, or start an Excel sheet or a Word document and make a table with 13 columns across and however many rows you want down. You can base the rows off of however many shows you have coming up, or maybe it's based off of a tour or what have you. This will make a lot more sense in a second, but if you're an old-fashioned person who likes writing on paper, you're going to want to print that piece of paper out, making sure there's enough room to write notes on it and bring it to every single show with you. Otherwise, just bring your laptop to the show and fill it out as a part of your show duties after the show before you forget. We do also have a reference sheet included in our paid version of the Artist Management Toolkit, which has over 100 templates and guides inside of it, but you can easily make one yourself, and I'm gonna kind of walk you through it right now. Okay, so for the 13 things you want to fill into these columns. In the first column, you want to fill in the date of the show, simple. Second column is you're going to want to fill in the day of the week. Is it a Friday or a Saturday? And before you start wondering how silly this might be, knowing the day of the week really matters, because let's say in a year from now you go to book a show at a venue you played the year prior. They offer you a Monday slot and you're not really happy about it, but then you check your reference sheet and it reminds you that the first time you played at this venue, they also gave you a Monday slot, and it actually turned out that the Monday slot was actually a great night because that bar happened to be busy on Mondays. And again, with the memory, you may not remember these things. This is why it's really important. And then the rest of the things on this list get more important as we go on, so hold tight. In fact, actually, I'd say number 13 might be the most important, so make sure you watch to the end. The third thing you want to include is the time of the show. The fourth is the city or the town that the show is in. The fifth is the venue name, and the sixth is any venue notes, which means jot down anything that you think you might want to keep track of that may come in handy to your future booking agent or your future self. Like you might want to keep track of things about the venue that matter to you, like maybe the sound, or maybe the buyer, or the way the staff treat you, or if they're professional, if they pay you correctly, etc. The seventh thing is the venue capacity. And then the eighth thing you want to keep track of is the number of people that showed up in relation to the capacity. You can also find out how many people usually show up to find out if your show was a hit or a miss. This is also super important for when you're going back to renegotiate a second show in the future, because you can tell them what you'll expect based on your past shows. The next thing, and the ninth thing, is the audience demographics. So take your best guess as to how old the average guest is. Do they appear to be 18 to 20-year-olds? Just try to describe them. What did most of them dress like? Did they dance? Was it a super hype show? What was the vibe? This will help you get to know your fans and help you with your marketing in the future. The 10th thing you want to keep track of is how many guests did they allow you on your guest list, and how many guests did you actually have show up from your guest list. It's up to you if you want to get more detailed and keep track of their names or who they are that you brought to each show, because maybe you can invite them again in the future. Number 11 is the weather. This can be a huge contributing factor to whether or not people show up. if it's a scorching hot day in the middle of the summer, maybe everyone is away at the lake, or if it's a blizzard and roads are closed, all these things are going to affect your shows. So keeping track of the weather is an underestimated tool in booking future shows. Number 12 would be any other contributing factors that you can think of. And last but definitely not least, number 13, and like I said, perhaps the most important thing you want to keep track of is merch sales. Did you sell $50 in merch or did you sell $500 in merch? This will come in handy in so many ways. For one, some royalties organizations need you to let them know these things. But additionally, it can help you decide how much merch to print and bring with you, which can save you so much money. Plus, if you compare how much you sold to how many people were there, you can get a good conversion ratio. So over time, you might start to see some consistency and better predict how much you think you'll sell when you're budgeting for future tours. So let me give you an example. Let's say 100 people show up to your show and you made $100 from selling 5 t-shirts, which are probably $20. That means you have a 5% conversion rate or ratio, with an average conversion being $20. 5% because out of 100 people, those 5 people purchased a shirt. And then over time, you start to see that it is maybe quite typical. Then you can start to predict that at each show where you have 100 people, you're probably going to sell something to 5 people. And depending on the price points of your product, you can then predict the revenue numbers. And as usual, you'll use these numbers when negotiating with anything or anyone. If you liked this video, comment with your thoughts. Remember to check out the description for your links and free downloads. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons. Please share with your music friends, and thank you very much for watching.